You don't need to design so many variants with all cases to create a simple dropdown to your prototypes. Today I will show you how to create a dropdown menu in 3 simple steps using the new variables feature. Believe me, it will save you a lot of time. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to create our local variables, and for that we will reach here on the right hand side, open variables model, and here we have now the create variable button that can be a color, number, string or boolean. For our case, we will start with strings because we want to get the name of our fruit, and it will be the name of the variable fruit1, and it will be apple. Then we create another variable for string, so fruit2, and it will be banana, and another one, fruit3, can be orange, and just one more, fruit4, that can be strawberry. Okay, perfect. So now we have the variables for our item list that will appear when we expand the dropdown. Now we can set also for colors. So we will start with the primary color that can be white. Now another one for the font. So font can be black. And just another one for our hover state that can be some purplish, okay, something like this. Okay, and now just another one variable that can be string that will be our options component. So when we have the dropdown collapse, we have that placeholder in there, but then when we select our fruit in our list, this option we want that changes also with our selection. So it will be here option, and we can call it select item or select fruit. I think it's better like this. Okay, perfect. So now we have all our variables, and what we can do is if we hit shift and click in fruit1 and 4, we can select all of them and right click, and we can create a new group with the selection. So we can call it fruits. Then we go again to our all variables, and we will do the same for colors. So we can click here and call these colors, and also one for our support variable. Okay, can call it like that. All right, perfect. So now we have the support variables, we have our colors, and we have our fruits. So we simplify a lot our work in case that we need to edit in the future. So I can now close, and next step, let's create the components and edit the style. So we will start to select the text layer and create our button that will be our item from the list. So hit Shift A to apply auto layout, and we can set the fill to primary, set the corner radius to 10, and now I can align it to left and create the component. All right, perfect. Now we will set the variable because we want the over status. Let me just increase here a little bit because usually our item lists are wider, and has a variant that we will call hover, and change the fill to hover. All right, perfect. And we can call this button list. Okay, now next step is to create our list. So we will duplicate this. I'm hitting option key and click to drag just outside, and we will create a list of 4. So same process. And now I will select everything, Shift A to apply auto layout, and make it a component of it. And I can call it fruit list. Perfect. All right, so I don't want these transparent corners here, So what I can do is to hit here fill, set to primary, but I want to keep these 4 corners rounded, so I will hit 10 for the corner radius. Now we have our list, but as you can see, all of them say button. So what we need to do now is apply our local variables to this text. What I'm going to do is to double click here to select the text layer. And as you can see, now we have here this icon, which means apply variable. And if I click it, I can link to fruit 1, which is apple. And as you can see, it directly updated. So now the same for the second one. I will put it fruit 2, then the third one, which is orange, and the last one, which is strawberry. And for example, if at any time you say, okay, but now I want to switch the strawberry, I don't have it anymore, and I want to replace it with another fruit, you can go here to local variables, and instead of strawberry, you can type kiwi, for example, and it will directly adapt. Okay, I will go back to strawberry and close my model. And right now we have the button and we have the fruit list. So what we need to do now is to create the component and the variant for the drop down. So I will type here a new text, and let's say I can call it drop down for now. Hit Shift A to apply the auto layout, and I can already create a component of it and set the fill to primary. Also, I want the corner radius to 10, and I need to give a clue to the user that this can be expandable or collapsible. So I will use the pen tool to quickly draw an arrow that I will click and drag inside of the frame, as you can see, because we have already auto layout applied. And just let me check the width, 140. So this needs to be also 140. Perfect. And I will set the minimum width, which is a new feature that we have on Figma, as minimum width to 140, so that if I select apple, which has less characters than dropdown, instead of shrink, it will stay at least 140. Okay, now I will need to create the second variant of my dropdown, so I will add a new variant, call it expanded, exactly. And this one will be collapsed. Okay, and also here in the expandable, I can switch the arrow upwards because it says that I can collapse it. And the same we done here for our fruit list, we will apply also the variable here. So select the text and click here, apply variable, and we will apply to option. So now I have here select fruit, and the same here, option. Okay, perfect. All right, so right now I have this aligned to center, and I don't want. I will align everything to left. And just let me check also here. Yeah, because our list, it's already aligned left. Okay, so everything needs to be consistent. And now here in my collapsed, I can select the fruit list and select the expandable component and copy and paste it my list inside of it. Just let me increase the size of the frame so that you will understand what happened. And if you notice, the fruit list is now inside of this component, but we want that in below the dropdown. So if we go here on top right and click here in absolute position, now they are splitted, and you can click, hold, and drag down below. Just one thing, if you go by this way and by clicking and drag the fruit list, if you take a closer look into our layers panel on the left side, if you go too far from this component, the fruit list will go out of the frame. Okay, so I will apply Command Z, and you will see that it will go back to inside of expanded component. So if that happens when you are doing this tutorial, pay close attention if you are going too far from this drop-down icon. The other way that you can do it is if you paste it right here, you can use the arrows from the keyboard and try to arrange it in simple steps, just like this. Okay, and I can rename this to drop-down. Okay, so now let's go to the fun part, which is creating the prototype. So we need to link all the things and apply the variables to our components. So let's start here. We will select here on top prototype to start the prototype mode. And now you can click here in this plus icon and click and drag to our hover, which means that if I hover it, I want to change this button to this button, the status of hover. Perfect. And now if we do the mouse over here in our prototype, they will directly switch to that purple color. And here what we want is that when I click on this collapsed dropdown, I want to change to the expanded dropdown, and the same as the opposite. So if I click here, I want to collapse my dropdown. Now, the fun part is that, okay, if I select one of these items, I want that it will be replaced here. So instead of saying select fruit and I click apple, I want here to say apple. So we will double click here to select the button, and I will create here an interaction that says that when I'm on click, I want to set the variable option, okay, select fruit, to be replaced by apple. And then I also, if I click it, I want that to change it to collapsed. So I want to hide this and select here the fruit to apple. Okay, so before doing all the rest, let's create a new frame here that will be our playground so we can test it. And hit the playground, and go ahead here and switch to design tab and change to another color, something like this. And we can go here and drag the component dropdown to our playground. And now let's try the prototype. Okay, so I will click on select fruit and it will open it. Now we can navigate with them, and if I click on apple, it replaces here, closed already the dropdown, and I have now apple. So of course if I click here, nothing will happen. So I will do again for the rest of the item lists. So let's go here into banana and add the interaction. On click, I want to set the variable option to fruit 2, and also change the overlay to collapsed. Okay, now the same for the orange. On click, set variable option to fruit 3 and change to collapsed. And lastly, add a new interaction here. On click, set the variable option to fruit 4 and change to collapsed. Okay, and let's test it again. All right, so if I click here, it will open the dropdown, and if I click on apple, it will directly switch. Then I can click again. Now it's banana, the same for orange, and the same for strawberry. So now our dropdown it's done. We can do here a few tweaks. So for example, regarding the design, I want to add now some effects like a drop shadow. I want to change the color. So for example, something like this. And I want this to be something like something like this. Okay, and instead of 100%, I want to be 20. Okay, then I will copy this effect and apply here and apply here. So now let's test it again to see how it looks. And there you go, pretty awesome, right? And that's it. There's our rocking dropdown working very cool. I hope you enjoyed this tip to make faster dropdowns to your prototypes. So if you enjoyed this video, like the video, don't forget to subscribe and leave your comment down below in case you want to have more questions to talk. Thank you and have a great day.